Welcome to the.
Hey, wait, no.
What
You
happened?
did the intro last time. It's my turn to do the intro.
I did it last time.
Yeah, you did it last time and the time before.
No.
Yeah.
This is
yeah,
episode 3.
Yeah, you know what? It's my turn.
Okay, it's your turn.
Yeah, my turn.
Never mind.
Yeah, so
Go for it.
Frijoles, chill for a little bit.
All right.
Welcome to the Frijoles and Hummus podcast. I'm Anthony the Hummus.
And I'm Ben Frijoles.
All right, so today we've been getting a lot of questions, or this time we've been getting a lot of
Yep.
questions about
Yep.
how we got into real estate
That's
and kind of the story of kind of who we are and everything like that. So, yeah, we wanted to kind of give you that rundown.
That's right. A lot of time. I mean, I personally, like on my pages, I show who I am.
Yeah.
Essentially, we're not characters or anything like that.
No,
I mean,
it's
this
pretty-
is really how we dress.
Yeah.
But yeah, go for it. Get
Yeah,
it started, man. Who are you, Anthony Hummus?
So I don't really talk about it much. I don't even
Right.
know if you know the story, but I'm just gonna
Let's see.
kind of
Let's
I'm
see.
just kind of
Oh, hold on. Should I record you for evidence? Oh, we're getting recorded.
no
Evidence.
Yeah, no, we
Okay,
already
go
got
for it.
recorded. Yeah,
Go for it.
so I'm gonna kind of go back and give you guys a good meat of the story. So my dad had his own business. He ran his own business.
Yep.
He opened it in 1990.
Yep.
I graduated high school in 07. Worked somewhere else for a little bit for 3.5 years. I always knew I was going to go back to the shop.
Yep.
Worked at the shop. And then I had like 3 defining moments in my career.
Really?
Yeah,
At the shop?
Yeah. Just
in general. Okay.
To date.
Okay.
3 defining
To date,
moments to date.
okay.
So the first one was running that shop. You know,
Right.
it was, I want to say the first 5 years, it was kind of, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just kind of jumped
Who
into
does?
it. Didn't take any business class, anything like that,
Yeah.
and just kind of jumped into it. And then at about the 5-year mark, everything clicked. I understood business. I wasn't just the guy that worked on cars because we
Right.
had an automotive shop. I wasn't
Right.
just the guy that worked on cars. I
Yeah.
figured out this is a business. And now we got to run a business.
And
Everything-
your shop was
Yeah.
like I mean, it's a shop. It's not like, hey, I'm doing the
It's
work
not
in
a
my
hole in the
backyard.
wall.
No. You have
No.
huge building. I mean, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
get
I
it,
know.
man. I get it.
Yeah, no, Frijoles has been there before. So
Yeah.
He's seen it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I mean, but once I figured out the business side of it, you know, we were doing great. And you're probably wondering why I got out of that. And this is one of the key things that kind of
Okay.
made that transition for me.
Okay.
So
I want to know this.
yeah. So we were again, business was good, and I was sitting there, and it was time to take it to the next level.
Right.
And we kind of had different visions because I ran it with a couple of my brothers, and
Right.
we had a different vision of what we wanted to do. So of how we wanted to go about it, and it wasn't clicking for me. For me personally, it was
Right.
just a personal thing. And
You mean the business, that particular business wasn't clicking for you?
Yeah,
You
I
didn't
felt like
see it as a-
I felt like I wanted to do more. Let's put it that way. I just felt like I
Aside
wanted
from
to
that.
do more. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
So then I got my real estate license.
Did?
I
Did?
got that because of you, actually.
Did I? Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Thanks.
I had a super bad experience with. And I'm gonna say this, and this might sting a little, man.
Okay.
I gotta be upfront about it.
Okay, tell me. Talk to me.
So if you guys don't know, I bought my first house through Ben.
Yes.
He was the realtor that hooked me up, and
Yes.
great, saved me a bunch of money. I'm not even exaggerating. You saved me a bunch of money on that house.
Yep.
And that's
Right.
why I remember that. But then I cheated on him. Yeah, I went with another
cheated
realtor.
on him.
Yeah, I went with another agent, and that's for another show. But that was a terrible experience. And then when I got that experience, I kind of tied it back to my shop, and I was like, you know what, you got to do good service. So, anyways,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna see what this is like.
So you got a little taste of good service, bad service, or maybe not necessarily bad. I don't want to talk bad about other people, but different types of services.
Just not what I
Not up to par.
expected. Not
Yeah.
what I expected. So anyhow, I got my license, and then I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it just wasn't doing anything. I was kind of stagnant, and then I kind of put it 2 and 2 together. My business wasn't where I wanted it to be,
Right.
or where I had envisioned.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what, I need to make a move.
Yeah.
And the second key turning point, which is kind of combined with the third, was when my father got sick.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that know me, I mean, my dad was a pillar in my life.
Mm.
He raised me with all the morals, ethics, and everything, and my mom as well. So that was the other point in my life when he got sick. I kind of realized, I was like, time is short. If I'm going to do something, I got to do it now.
Big
You know, I can't sit here and wait and
Yep.
and think, am I going to do this or not?
Yep.
And
Yep.
at the same time, I was getting married to my wife. So
So you're dealing with that and trying to plan a wedding
and
at the
switching
same time
careers.
and switching careers.
Yeah, all these things.
Dude, that's
all
a
at
lot
once.
of stuff in
Yeah.
one shot.
Yeah, yeah,
And one moment, I should say.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was tough, but I do think I will say this. I do think the career and the wedding career switch and wedding kind of was, I guess you could say, part of my grieving process.
Okay.
Kind of made me focus on something
Yeah.
else other than
Get your mind off of.
yeah,
of
because
the-
Dad was always around. You know,
Yeah.
I would talk with him for hours daily.
How long do you think he went like seriously sick?
Shoot, probably like 3 months. It wasn't that bad.
3 months.
I mean, I
actually-
know that's
I know that's weird to say, huh?
Weird to say, yeah.
But
not
it's
that-
it's weird, but it's a good weird. Like he didn't really suffer.
yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
I guess if you want to think about it that way, that makes sense.
yeah. So
3 months. Yeah.
and that was the thing when we decided to have the wedding, because we were engaged for 3 years. 3 years, and we always were putting off the wedding to the right time, right time, right. And that's again why when he got sick, my career, my marriage, I was like, we got to get this going now, because my wife was always like, dude, we got to have your dad at the wedding. And she would always tell me, we don't know how long he's gonna be around for.
Yeah.
I want to make sure he's there. I want to make sure he's there. And
Wow.
and
It's really nice to hear that your wife also had that connection with your pops and your mom and your dad. That she was like, we got it. Yeah, she included them. You know.
oh, my wife loved my dad. I mean, absolutely loved my dad. That was, he always treated her like family. But then, so then I get married. Right, Dad's not around anymore.
Right.
Career switched.
Right.
And it's weird. I don't know if you experienced the same thing. Right when I got married, I felt like something changed. Even though we were together for 6 years before that, engaged for 3 years.
Right.
Well,
it's because the ball and chain, it starts weighing you down. I'm just kidding. I love you, baby. I love you.
Wait, are you talking to your wife or
No, I'm
my
talking
wife?
to you. No, I'm talking to my wife. No, I'm talking to my wife.
Yeah, so it just changed, though.
I know.
It changed. I just felt like this huge amount of responsibility. Like, I got to take care of my wife.
Right.
And I start remembering all the time.
And then Pops is not around anymore, and it's all on you. That's weight, man. That's a lot of responsibility.
And I just started remembering all the times, like, if I told my wife today, hey, I want to go be a race car driver, she's going to go buy me a helmet. Like, she's got my back, and
that's bad.
That was something that, like, all these things kind of came crumbling down, not in a bad way, but in a bad way, just
to build something.
To build something. And then, again, I dived in 2 feet into real estate, and, man, the rest is history.
And here you are.
Yeah, here I am.
That's it.
Here I am. I'm hummus in the flesh.
Hummus making it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Hummus making it happen.
Yeah.
That's a good one, man. That's a good one. That's a good testimony, man.
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of my story. You know, it's not, I mean, there's a lot more details to it, but,
and your real estate career is literally taking off right now, right? You still have to go through all those trenches and stuff like that, where it's going to give you more epiphanies.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing, I was in business for 13 years before that.
Right.
I've been through the pitfalls and the rises, valleys, and mountains of the business world.
That's right.
So I don't get emotional with it in the sense of I'm not going to cry if I lose a deal. I'm going to work on myself and figure out why something happened and get better and keep growing from that, because I think that's key.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, this was a deep conversation, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how am I gonna follow that up, man?
Oh, you got a story too. You got a good
I do have a little bit of a story, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. All right. So how far back did you go? You went to your high school years, huh?
I went to graduating high school.
But
keep in mind, graduating high school for me was a lot more recent. You know, you gotta remember that. A lot more recent.
I know. I graduated in the 90s, man. I don't know that I can. Well, I already said it. I graduated in the 90s.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
99 is still 90s.
90s.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just start where I got into real estate, right? So I had done a bunch of stuff before as well, right? And some higher level, like, retail stuff. Like, I was managing a bunch of different stores for a bunch of different companies, playing the rat race essentially, right?
Yeah.
And I was making money, but I wasn't really making money.
Yeah.
You know, I was making enough just to go day by day and paycheck to paycheck.
Keep up with inflation.
Try to, man. Yeah. Try to. And so I think I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the exact day that I was like, all right, I'm making a decision. But I know it happened over a period of time, very similar to yours. I would tell my wife who worked. You know, we already had probably. Did we have both kids or two kids already? We had one for sure. One kid. So when you have a kid, you know, you're like,
The second one will do it too.
yeah. And you tread cautiously because you're like, all right, if I mess up, okay, I don't eat.
Yeah.
But if I mess up, she doesn't eat, and then like, okay,
Yeah.
wait a minute, yeah, that's a tough responsibility.
Big load. Big load.
Yeah, big load. So I was like, all right, I'm make this happen. Sandra, my wife, was working, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna jump into this. Cool. I get into it. I luckily already had a little bit of a client base from my previous experience. I was already helping some agents do some work, and so diving into it for me, I just kind of went 1,000%. Like I hit the gear and I was like, boom! I'm just gonna do everything I need to do to survive, right? And so luckily we did well for a couple years, and then bought a couple properties, so on and so forth, and then for those lifer agents that remember 2007, 8, 9, 10, which was an ultimate crash. You were probably like 3 years old, I think.
No,
you graduated in 7.
High school. Yeah, so
you're graduating in high school.
I had to become an adult in the mix of all that.
That's right.
Mess.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's another story. But this is how crazy God works, right? So I did well for a couple years, right? I'm making money, okay, cool. Getting the real estate's going well, so on and so forth. And you see something looming, right? You're like, it's almost like you're going down the ocean and you're like, is that the freaking edge?
Is that the edge?
What the hell is that, right?
Is that a shark fin?
Yeah, is that a shark fin? Like, should I go backwards? What the hell's happening, right? Right. At that time, I had a brother. Well, I have a brother, I should say. My brother moved. He has an interesting story too, but he moved out of state, right?
Yeah.
So we were visiting him out of state, and I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, what the hell is keeping us in California? And she was like, us? I'm like, you're right, it is us. And together we were like, let's go test it out in a different state. So we actually moved to Colorado, right? In like 2007. So let me think, or was it 06? Oh my God, when was my kid born?
Did you take your Alzheimer's medication today, or
dude? When did we move to? I'm even forgetting my son's birthday. That's crazy.
Oh man,
No,
it's because you're on the spot.
My second kid is born. Literally, he was like 2 months, and we're like, all right, let's go. We're out of here.
Yeah.
Boom. Right. And so we moved to Colorado. After being there a couple times, my brother was like, yeah, just come stay with me. We helped each other out. I actually had bought a property with my dad prior to moving there. So we actually ended up moving into that property. My brother moved in with us, and we just kind of made it work. And when the crash happened, I was in Colorado. I was working in real estate and new construction.
Okay.
New construction, coincidentally, right? We do a lot of new construction.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I was working in new construction, and then I was like, as soon as I got there, I was like, wow, this thing is looking shaky. I gotta get a job. So I went. I literally that day, I remember that day, I walked into the mall, and I was like, all right, I know retail. I've been in retail for a lot of years prior to this, so let me just see who would hire me, right? So I walked in. And I walked into a Sears. You're probably too young to remember.
No, I remember Sears. I remember right? Sears.
So Sears, which is, oh God, that store. If you guys remember Sears, you know you used to spend the weekends at Sears. So anyway, so I went in there, and coincidentally, the manager was like, hey, well, I got an assistant manager spot. You make like 60 grand a year or whatever. I'm like, I'll take it. Let's go. Yeah. Let's do this, right? So I worked at Sears for a couple months. And then I got this crazy opportunity. Because in Colorado, okay, let me backtrack, right? And this is probably the same for you.
Let's hear it.
In California, there's a lot of me, right? There's a lot of like Mexican dudes that speak English, speak Spanish, can pass a background check, decent credit, so on and so forth, whatever. Is it the same for Lebanese people?
And maybe Orange County area more.
Maybe Orange County, yeah. Hey, by the way, the reason why it's frijoles and hummus is because I'm Mexican.
And I'm Lebanese.
And you're Lebanese, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this is
two and two together.
Our staple food, right?
That's right. That's right.
So in Colorado, there's not a lot of me. Probably not a lot of you. Probably less you than me, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And the need is
higher.
If you speak another language in like the Midwest or wherever, then then you basically could get into a lot of different jobs.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I saw this ad in the paper. There was a paper. This freaking paper. It was the internet. I didn't have. I saw an ad in the
not
paper.
on your cell phone.
Not on my cell phone. I saw it
Dang.
in the freaking paper. Isn't that
Dang.
crazy? I can't believe I just said that, man. I saw an ad in the paper for a translator. Something to do with Spanish. Little did I know that it was a law enforcement gig.
Damn.
Right? Yeah. So I applied thinking that I'm like, oh, I can be a translator or whatever. And that took me to a lot of realms, a lot of branches of law enforcement from,
Well,
gosh.
okay. Sorry to cut
Okay,
you off,
go for
but
it.
I know you got a picture somewhere in your uniform, right? We got to pull it up. We got to pull up a picture.
Okay. Yeah, here's the picture right
Okay,
here. Here's
boom.
the picture. Ooh, okay. Interestingly enough, in that picture, I was so in law enforcement. There's a lot of different branches, right? So I worked in the feds for a little bit, and then I had to be a deputy. That's that picture right there. I had to, you work in the jail, and then you're a deputy essentially for a sheriff's department, and then I did some contracting work for like ATF and a couple other agencies, right? And so at some point, nothing seemed right.
Yeah.
So once again,
Yeah.
I
Get
tell
that
my
feeling.
So I tell my wife, hey, like I basically stopped doing real estate at the moment because I went to do new construction in Colorado.
Yeah.
So I basically
You went for that.
I went for that.
All of a sudden, you're doing something completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm freaking a deputy. That's freaking crazy, man. I'm like, how did this happen, right? So
And something crazy in your head said, "Oh, let's go back to working 80 hours a day."
That's probably even
You know what I mean?
crazier, dude.
Something
That's
like
crazier,
that,
man. Something. Yeah. So when you're not happy, when you're not comfortable with your job or with your whatever you're doing, you
path,
yeah. So not that I was miserable, man. Man, freaking cops, law enforcement, they have the toughest job, and I know it firsthand, dude.
They hardly get any love too.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
especially not right now.
Now,
Especially not right now.
they don't get any love.
And yeah, and there is a ton of great officers out there that are there to like keep the peace. I mean, that's and do their job and and we depend on them. Well, anyway, okay. So so I tell my wife, look, I went off course here and grateful for what we have and for this opportunity, but I gotta get back into real estate.
Yeah.
And at that point, literally at that point, that week probably, one of my contracts ends. And we have the opportunity to move back to California. And I said, boom, we're going back. And so we came back. I called my dad. I remember I called my dad. I'm like, hey, you got room at the house for like a week or two while I find a place to live and this and that. And my dad and my
rid of you.
Yeah, my dad and my mom was like, why? No. They're like, get back here, come on. We all missed the family and stuff. They missed us, I hope, and then we missed them. And so we freaking came back the same way we went, like from one day to the next.
Yep.
Luckily, my wife, my kids, everyone was on board. And kind of to your point, if your wife doesn't have your back, things get difficult, man. So my wife was like, now I don't know that she thinks about it. She's like, well, hold on. What are we doing here?
Let's put some things together.
We have freaking kids, dude. We're not gonna end up on the street, right? So we kind of came up with a plan. Came back over here.
Yep.
Jumped back into real estate. Freaking.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. So that was in 2011, 12 or something. 11 or 12. Shit, I don't even know.
That's crazy. Yeah, and that's nuts, man. That's a crazy jump. See, I've never done that. When I left my business, I guess the scary thing was that I had a stable income.
Yeah.
And I was going into the unknown.
Yeah.
It was never really about money for us, I guess you could say. It was just more about like just kind of like a
rich, dude.
Well, I don't know, we're not. Hey,
you got Arab money, man. That's freaking.
No, we got hummus money. It's not that good. It's not that good.
We have Mexican money that it doesn't exist.
No, so it was never about money. Like I mean, my wife had her own career. She has her own career. She's doing good.
Right? Yeah,
she still's got that. She's doing good. For me, I was just jumping ship. I just, like I said, wanted more. Wanted more, and I kind of probably the same for you.
Ambitious,
like,
man.
There was just something different that you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's do something. You had a calling.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
I kind of had that. I kind of had that growing up when I was like, I one of my first jobs was selling shoes. Right.
Yeah.
So I worked at a shoe store, a little kid's shoe store.
Al Bundy.
Yeah, dude. I've heard that many times. That's probably like the 10,001 time that.
First time hearing it.
First time hearing it here.
That's right.
At the
That's
podcast.
right.
Yeah. so I got into shoes, and then I'm like, wow, what the hell am I doing here? Let's get into something else. I got into cell phones for a little bit. What the hell am I doing here? So you just kind of keep evolving, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: everywhere that I went, like my wife tells me all the time, like, dude, anything you do, all of a sudden we're hearing it at the house. You're watching, you're reading about it. So I'm just like that, If I like right now that I'm in real estate, I gotta know everything.
Yeah.
Like I gotta know what's happening, what's not, what's interest, housing. I mean, I gotta know every freaking thing.
But that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's what sets people apart. You know what I mean? And that's kind of, I'm the same. I'll be up. I mean, I'll send we'll be talking sometimes, and I'll send you something at like 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm like,
log into here. Check out this video. I just finished it, or whatever.
Is it weirder that I respond at 1 in the morning?
No,
that you send it to me.
It's not weird. If you weren't a real estate agent and I wasn't a real estate agent, maybe it'd be weird. But we're both real estate agents, so it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So like.
As long as the wives don't get mad, I guess. Right?
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true.
They'd be like, dude, it's 1 a.m. Who the hell are you talking to? Oh man.
Yeah.
No, I know that's cool, man. That's a good. So now, the question for both of us is, where do we go from here? We've done a lot in our life.
Well,
where do we go from here?
On to bigger and better things, I guess. I mean, we continue with what we're my I guess for me, I would say, I want to excel in my real estate career and just get even better, get to the next level, and I mean, I honestly I don't think too much of then what's in front of me. I can't do that. That's what my wife's for. She plans the future.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just here like working, like my head's down and boom.
So she's like, hey, we're getting married next week. Go get a tux.
But
that's pretty much what happened.
Pretty much. She's like, hey, well, if we're gonna do it at this day. I'll be there.
And you're like, yeah. By the way, that was one of the most badass weddings I've been to in my life, dude. Dude, I don't even drink, and I was wasted. That's the crazy part, man.
That you were.
I had a hangover. What?
A hangover.
Hungover. Yeah.
Hungover. It was you had a contact high.
That's what it was, man. That's what it was.
Secondhand drunk.
Secondhand drunk. Yeah. That's what it's kind of like smoking, right? You get but that was we got there and we were like, all right, let's see what it's about. Rosarito. It was in Rosarito.
Yeah. No, Ensenada.
Ensenada. Sorry, Ensenada.
Come on, Frijoles.
I'm telling you, I was drunk, dude. I don't remember half of it.
Apparently.
I don't remember half of it, but no. The rehearsal was a rehearsal. The thing that happens the day before.
We just call it the day before.
The day before party was really cool. Great setting, and then the party itself, the ceremony, the party itself. You
right
got
on the beach.
You got a cool Instagram shot. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the party itself.
We took the. Remember we walked down the aisle, and then my wife was like, "Wait, we gotta do it
again." And then we were like,
they had the poppers and everything.
How do we do that again? We just did it with poppers.
You're like, we got more of that. Let's throw it up.
Oh yeah. This is it right here. Check it out.
All right.
All right, and so the reception itself, man, I've never seen people take so many shots in my life, dude. I mean, there were dude. How many bottles of whatever did you go through? Tequila.
Did they ever tell you? They didn't tell me. All I heard was it was open bar,
dude,
and that's what everybody. So. That was one of the nice things. I'm going to be honest. That was one of the nice things about having a destination wedding.
Right.
Is because we knew who was going to show up and who wasn't.
Yeah.
Like we know who's down.
Yeah. You know,
we had a good group of people that came, that supported us, and they turned out. It was a great time. Honestly, there was only one person that didn't show up to the wedding.
Really.
And
so out of all your invitees,
about all the invitees, one person didn't show up.
That's a good. Well,
check this out.
Yeah.
One person had to bring their daughter, so then she replaced them.
Oh, there you go.
It was a full house.
The seat was full.
Yeah, seat was full. We didn't miss out on anything.
That's all that matters. Yeah, that was a badass one. We totally went off course here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, okay, so speaking of weddings, let me tell you what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to celebrate my 25th anniversary next year.
All right.
Can we do it in Ensenada?
I mean, am I invited?
You put me on the spot, Hummus. Of course, bro. Of course. Come on now.
There it is.
So we'll see. We'll see what we do. But that's gonna be that's in my immediate future.
Yeah. Right? We wanted to introduce ourselves a little bit, get a little bit deeper into what we do and why we do it, and those types of things, and because a lot of people ask.
I feel like we got warm and fuzzy in that freaking.
A little
Kinda
bit.
weird, huh? It's
Yeah,
kinda
a little
weird.
bit.
A little off. The next show's not gonna be like this.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll have our wives with us, so it won't feel so like a bromance.
Oh, let me think about that.
Nah.
No.
Nah.
Yeah, what the heck were you? No, man. I was trying to nicely say no. Yeah, no.
Just no.
This is a no.
There's no nice way to say no.
Yeah,
just
there's
no.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah, maybe
guys.
not.
Sorry, ladies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So if you guys need help,
Yeah.
I'll plug this. We work all over.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like all over Southern California,
Southern
right?
California.
Riverside, San Bernardino, LA, San Diego, Orange County.
All
right?
these counties we work. We're both available. If you guys have any questions,
Yep.
Feel free to reach out.
Yep.
If you want to get to know us more, I don't know, but yeah, real estate wise, if you guys need help, again, we're both here to help you guys. Just just reach out.
All right, guys. Well, hey, hope you like this episode.
Yep.
Stay tuned for the next one. Should we do the topic for the next one? How about a Q&A?
Yeah,
Do a
you know
Q&A?
what? Yeah, how
What do you
about
think?
we've been getting a lot of questions, but if you guys have questions, submit them to us. Leave them in the comments. If they're good questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them on here. And
Let's do it.
if they're good enough questions and good enough characters, you can.
That's
come on the
right.
show.
Maybe you could come
Yeah.
on the show. That's right. So that next episode, a bunch of Q&A.
That's right.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.